Hello, welcome to another edition of IIABCAL Voices. I'm James Lott Jr. A lot of letters, folks. I'm James Lott Jr. and welcome to the show here on JLJ Media in association with IIABCAL.org. I got that out, kids. It's because I grew my hair out, so I'm going crazy. So I'm here with somebody who's been on the show before. He was on with his dad, but now we have him by himself because I want to there's a couple of updates and things are going on with him that actually are great things for other people who are in insurance to kind of know about. He's with J. Morey, and well, of course, it's with J. Morey Insurance Company because it's Joshua Morey. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me, James.
We have our own names, our businesses. It's kind of funny. I'm JLJ Media. They're like, what does that stand for? I'm like, James Lott Jr. Hello. My company, your company, your family's company, your company.
Yeah,
I'm good. How are you doing these days?
I'm doing great. Been a lot of traveling lately. Been all over the place, but been great. And yeah, seems like things are starting to get back to normal, but actually expedited for me. So yeah, a lot going on.
We have a couple of things that I want to mention because this insurance industry is great because again, I talk about this on every show to throughout anybody. That it's a vast market, a vast industry. You can find your way in there, but also insurance gives back to your communities, gives back to their colleagues. It's something that people work, a lot of networking, people work together. And there are two things I wanted to mention, particularly for this podcast. One is your Asians Insurance, your own podcast you've been doing on LinkedIn and everything. And I want to know, how's that going? I watched if you like them. How's it going?
Yeah, it's been going amazing. And really the genesis of that idea happened in the pandemic. And I was connecting with another Asian American broker and we were just saying, like, how come we don't know all these amazing Asian professionals within our industry? And we just said, let's just create a list, created this Excel spreadsheet. And we're like, oh my goodness, there's like 100 people on this list. I'm like, I don't know 90% of those people that you put on the list. You don't know 90% of the people I put on the list. So like, okay, let's just start interviewing them, telling their story. And it's been amazing because the groundswell of support and really just telling people's stories and highlighting these amazing Asian professionals in our industry and then giving recommendations and insights to the next generation who might consider insurance as a profession. And so it's been great. We've gotten a lot of support. It's connected us internally. It's given opportunities externally. And really because of that, there's another group of Asian Americans more on the claim side. And they were sitting at a conference and they're like, have you seen this podcast, this Asians in Insurance podcast? And they're like, well, how come we don't really know each other here on the claim side? So we all connected and we formed the first Asian American Insurance Network last month. And so because of the podcast, we created an actual Asian American Insurance Association, a nationwide presence, launched it last month and already at over 250 members. So really, it's meaningful to me because now as we have a collective voice, that voice becomes louder, becomes more powerful, and can, truly inspire the next generation.
Yeah, and as you know, here at IIABCAL Voices and JLJ Media, we support the Asian community. You know that. We have many
Absolutely.
people on here like Bob Tsushima and everybody who's been on here. We got people on here that
Bob's great.
And everybody. So we support that. I come from that background also. So that's part of personally for me, it's something that I'm happy to see. But also it's a great example for any listener or watcher that a podcast can affect change. It can inspire something that could happen that's bigger than the actual podcast. You're a total example of that. Total example of that. So it can happen.
Absolutely.
I have to ask you, this is the one question I always have to ask you. What's it like being a host? Now you're doing my job. So what is it like being a host and interviewer for you?
So I probably watched 10 hours of you interviewing other people, took notes and implemented everything and the way that you lead your podcast in ours. No, but it was, as you've seen the progression of our podcast, I think we're on episode 12 now. We have a bunch recorded. You can see it gets better and better. At first, it was these scripted questions and we weren't really rolling with the punches. But as we've done more and more, you really just kind of open a conversation and let the conversation take wherever it's going to go. And as a host, I think I've learned a lot, but more so just asking pointed questions to let other people tell their story.
I've been doing it for 7 years, this portion of my career. I look at my early work and I'm like, oh, know. But yes, it does get better. Yes,
I take notes from you, James.
well, but you're finding out the conversation is where the gold happens. It's like you ask a question, they start talking. That's where the meat potatoes are in there. So I tell people,
right,
let them talk. You'll get other stuff will come out of it. Let them talk. And if they're very interesting, you'll get all kinds of stuff out of that to go on. So
absolutely.
But congratulations on that. I think it's really cool. I think again, for those of us who might feel othered in certain industries, that's a great thing to come together and celebrate each other and lift each other up and support each other. And there's nothing better than that at all.
Absolutely.
Now, something else happened for you too. I saw recently our mayor, Mayor Eric Garcetti, gave you a commendation of sorts. Can you talk about that? What happened there?
It's my family's been doing amazing community work within Little Tokyo, our LA Little Tokyo community, for over 125 years. And so any recognition, and it's great to get this certificate of recognition for my contributions to our community, but it has nothing to do with me. It really has to do with the 125-year history that my family's had in our community. And I'm so blessed to be able to receive the recognition on behalf of our family, because really I don't see it as a award for me or a recognition of me. It's really a recognition of what my family has done in our community. And so it's funny because I'm part of the Consul General of Japan. They have a new program, and it's the Japanese Black Initiative, and they're doing these events to really kind of find common ground between our two communities. And and you probably know this as well, there's a long history between our two communities. And the fact that, our Consul General of Japan here in LA is so passionate about connecting them and connecting with leaders of other communities, that I was at an event, it must have been 6 months ago. And I was able to meet a bunch of people, and I met people from the state Senate office of Senator Kamlager. And she, and really is from there sharing our story there. And that was the first time that people from her staff heard our story, and they're like, we have to recognize you guys for what you've done. And I just said, well, thank you. I mean, it doesn't change how we're doing it, or we're going to do it more, but it's just what we've been doing. And so to get recognized for that, first from her office, and then being able to have our story be told on behalf of us to other offices. And it got to, Mayor Garcetti's office, and we received a recognition from him as well. And I just, it's a huge, huge honor. But I think just like a lot of our minority communities, our stories haven't been told. And now that we're starting to connect more and more, these stories get out there. And so I'm just so grateful that we're being recognized for what we've done.
See, I'm going to correct you, because I am going to say, yes, history and legacy and all that is great, but you do have a hand in it because you are continuing it. You could have ended it. You could have said, we're done with the business, that's it. You could be anything could have happened, but you're continuing your family's tradition of being in the community. So you are the one helping make decisions to connect with the Black community and the Hispanic community. I mean, you're making decisions. You are actively making decisions and networking. I know you're a networking guy. You network. So I'm gonna correct you a little bit and say, yes, it is your award. Also, you're being very Japanese American right now. So I get it. But no, I really don't. Seriously, I think. I mean, it's we have to recognize our past. Yes, your dad. But you have to recognize your past. All that's part of it. That is part of it. But you're still doing it also, and a lot of generational people, it cuts off. Sometimes it just ends, and people don't continue the legacies that were started by their ancestry. Just don't.
Well, I appreciate those kind words. And if at the end of my career I was able to continue on the legacy of those gone before me, then I did my job. But I'm not a small thinker. I'm definitely a dreamer. So when I think about the legacy of those who've gone before me, it's not to continue, it's to amplify and exponentially amplify. So I will take credit with what you just said and giving me credit, because I'm really trying to amplify not just the voice of my family, but of our community, and then our diverse communities as a whole.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on when you came on before, because we're in Los Angeles, especially, and where Little Tokyo is positioned, there are a lot of different communities right around there also outlying, and And a
Right.
lot of folks go to Little Tokyo. I mean, and shop there and eat there and then drive something. They spend money there. So it's like it is a kind of a collective communities. I mean, it's just so LA. It's just that's what I love about LA.
Yeah.
We're so diverse that it can't be just about ourselves. And you're right. The Japanese and Black communities have. Like I said, I grew up with my Japanese godfather and my it's a family.
Yeah.
They lived in, we say, the hood. They lived in the hood. They were there, and we have gone through similar experiences. Being that are not of a certain race that we can relate to. And so I think this is great that we need more community connection in this world. Any way we can get it, and insurance. It literally, you're showing us that insurance is about the community. And anyway, because everybody needs insurance of some sort, but you're actually out there actively doing it. People don't always think. I tell somebody once, they're like, "Yeah, I watched one of your shows." I'm like, I didn't really put the connection together. I'm like, yeah, I mean, your car needs insurance, your home needs insurance, your business. Like, then why would you think that insurance companies wouldn't be out there, especially independent agent and broker out there in the community, right? That's part
Right.
of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and if I could speak to that a little bit, is
Please.
so yeah, insurance, it's one of the most stable industries in the world, right? I mean, you go back to the Great Recession, you go through the pandemic, it's very stable and everyone needs it. And believe me, my firm is going to be at the cutting edge of technology, of being able to provide insurance product and services. But when I think about my profession, and our time here on earth is short, realistically, right? And so, having lost my mother, about 8-9 years ago, there's a reflecting point where I'm like, what am I going to be proud of at the end of this, right? And she was the closest person in my life, and yes, we do insurance. Our company, that's our legacy. But if I can encourage anybody else out there, whether you're insurance or your company, the mission of the company, our product is insurance, our service is insurance, but that's not who we are. That's not what we're trying to accomplish. And really, J. Morey Company, being 42, this is our 42nd year. Bought out my dad and uncles over the past 3 years. Trying to create a vision that was compelling, that had nothing to do with, hey, what type of home insurance or auto insurance do you have? It really had to do about amplifying the voices of diverse communities. And as I was looking back on my own ethnic community, there's no way that I can stand here or sit here today to be able to make these great, decisions and opportunities for the next generation. And so, so that's what we're in the business in. We're in the business of perpetuating the legacies of diverse communities. And we launched Origin. I think I might have mentioned that, right? And that's, Origin is specifically an insurance company, but the mission is to perpetuate and amplify those legacies who've gone before us. And so that's the compelling part of that for us. And I think anybody within our organization really resonates with that. And as we're bringing on other talent as well, that's the differentiating part between us and the next insurance agency or broker that's down the street.
I've talked to several members of your staff, including an upcoming episode with. By the time this airs, it aired last. I'll say it aired last week, right? We're doing, that's how we're the power of magic. Sarah Hutter.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yes, I love her. We had a great discussion. So check that out, folks. It came out before this one, as I'm filming this. But she was said, I'm going to ask you the same question. How is it affecting you personally has it really brought you closer to your culture? Has it brought you closer to, are you discovering things about yourself by doing this kind of work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Origin, ORIGEN, is remember where you come from, create a new future. And it's really, really like, as I'm making decisions on a day-to-day basis, I'm not even talking about an annual basis. It's around like every decision is, okay, what is the difference that it's going to make in our community, and then ways that we can give back. So, for example, we created Origin Giving, and that becomes part of our DNA. And so, like, we're really trying to give back and actively look for opportunities to give back, not only financially, but through volunteer experiences, and then connecting also to other diverse communities where we can take part in their events or give to, their nonprofits. And so, yeah, it definitely has allowed me just in a day by day, minute by minute, if I'm making decisions, does it impact our community? Does it impact another diverse community? And so, yes, it absolutely has allowed me to connect back, but also, as we look forward, I mean, this is what we're about.
I like that. I do. I like that. I'm very excited for you. Thanks for coming on the show. As always, you're always welcome back, of course. But I wanted to make sure I highlight these couple things that have been happening for you guys. It's just been wonderful watching you grow and move and morph and it's amplifying voices that we need amplified. So right. Thanks for all the things that you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and the best is yet to come.
So tell me where they can find Agents in Insurance, the association and the podcast. Where can they find it?
So right now they're both housed on LinkedIn. The Asian American Insurance Network is AAIN. You can put that in the search in LinkedIn. And then Asians in Insurance Podcast is also on LinkedIn and Vimeo. So you can do searches in either one and find us.
Yeah, go and find them. Find them there. Watch it. It's good stuff. I joined your network. I joined it.
I saw that. Thank you, James.
Of course, we're going to be a part of it. Everyone, so I'm James Lott Jr. Of course, this is IIABCAL Voices. Go to IIABCAL.org for information. They have advocacy, education, conferences, all kinds of things going on there. So check their stuff out there. Of course, that's the father of all of this. And of course, I'm JLJ Media. Everyone, please take care of yourselves, each other, support your communities, and we'll see you next time.